Okay, so this question makes it very easy to predict the question, our overall writing strategy. And it's because the answer choices are very familiar to us if we've been practicing for a while. These are all pronouns. So we know that this is a pronoun question. And again, if you've been practicing for a while, you know that there's some rules that you do need to memorize for pronouns. And they usually have to do with a couple things. There's apostrophes, right? So we know that this choice B really says it is, and that wouldn't make sense in the sentence, right? It is design also features a solar station. No, that sounds weird. That's wrong. Wrong word. We also need to think about singular versus plural, right? So its is singular and there is plural. And so we would need to think, well, what are we referring to? And we're talking about the park. That's why I included this entire paragraph. It makes it clear we're talking about the park. They're talking about the park, yeah, in the city. Okay, yeah, they're talking about the park again and again. So it's singular, so a plural pronoun wouldn't make any sense. We're talking about one single park. The reason, though, that D ends up being the correct answer is that there is another rule. It's a real rule in real life, but on the SAT, it's very noticeable, where we have to worry about ambiguous pronouns, okay? If something is ambiguous, it is unclear. And so the general rule is that since pronouns refer to other nouns without naming them, we need to make sure that when we use a pronoun, it's very clear what we're referring to because we don't want any confusion. Now, if we look at the word its here, and we look for the word park, the last time it appears is all the way up here. And so there's a full sentence and a half in between. And specifically, the thing that the previous sentence is about is coastline restoration, not the park. And so the real grammatical issue here is that it's unclear what this pronoun is referring to. It seems to be referring to the thing that we were just talking about, coastline restoration. So would it make sense to say that coastline restoration's design also features a solar station? Well, no. We're very clearly talking about the park. And so the challenge is that you know that. So to you, this isn't a problem. You understand what they mean. But a stupider person might be confused. And so we have to write for the stupider person. And that means we're going to need to specify what it is we're talking about. And so that is why D is right, is it replaces the pronoun entirely and just uses the noun, the thing that we were talking about. So that's the grammar rule. It's a real grammar rule. But I'm going to teach it to you in a kind of more SAT specific way. Basically, for the SAT, if the SAT gives you the option to specify the pronoun, well, pick it. If they give you an option to use the noun instead of the pronoun, then use the noun. It's just how they do it. You may be able to understand what they meant without it, but we know from experience and the way that the SAT tests this particular rule that they are including the more specific noun for a reason. So you have to remember that this weird ambiguous thing exists, and then when it comes up on a test, you should be able to recognize it because in the midst of all those pronoun choices, you're also going to see a choice that specifies the noun. So that is going to be your best guess in most cases because it's them telling you that the pronoun is ambiguous. So hopefully you learn from this mistake. It doesn't come up as often as the normal pronoun rules that I went over, but it is there and I get why it's hard to recognize. Like I said, you're smart. You understood what they meant. You didn't need them to specify. But if the SAT suggests that we should specify, then specify.